2, 1.
Tonight on the National Rundown, find out about a new danger to man's best friend. Missile tests take place in India, and more rain is in the forecast. We'll tell you what to expect next.
Oh, those boys are much too much. Those boys are much too much. We got the spirit. We're hot. We can't be stopped. We got the spirit. We're hot. We can't be stopped. We're going to beat them and bust them. Beat them.
The smallest moments can have the biggest impact on a child's life.
Let's get a little bit rowdy. R-O-W-D-Y.
Take time to be a dad today.
Oh, those boys are much too much. Those boys.
Welcome to the Rowan National Rundown. I'm Erin Haskell. Dick Clark dies at age 82. Clark was best known for being the host of American Bandstand. He helped showcase rock and roll black and white. Clark hosted the New Year's Rockin' Eve, which is now done by Ryan Seacrest. Clark named himself America's oldest teenager. He will be missed greatly. It has been found that a certain brand of dog treats could be deadly for man's best friend. Dan Beal has more on the story.
Laura Thomas is remembering one of her favorite times with her dog, Jake.
Good job!
That's him on a kneeboard, enjoying the sights and sounds of Lake Tenkiller.
Oh, he was so funny. He just loved it.
Jake passed away last month. Thomas says he died of an autoimmune disease.
Very docile. He was just a sweet little boy.
Jake was 6 years old and never sick, and hopes other dog owners know about the warnings.
I just want people to be aware. You know, I think they need to be aware in that right.
Facebook is hitting Wall Street. Facebook's initial public offering will value them at $100 billion. CEO Mark Zuckerberg said that Facebook wants to expand and maintain relationships. Just last week, Facebook bought the phone-sharing application Instagram for $1 billion. A Texas pediatric nurse, Verna McLean, was charged with capital murder today. McLean shot Kayla Golden numerous times in the chest and kidnapped her 3-day-old baby. McLean's motive was to adopt the baby because she suffered a miscarriage, and that led to her actions. 3 are fired, and more pink slips may be on the way for Secret Service agents involved with a prostitution scandal, according to a top lawmaker. Representative Peter King of New York said, quote, "I wouldn't be surprised if you saw any more dismissals and more being forced out sooner rather than later," end quote. The Kansas prison system is undergoing some inmate problems. A number of inmates have escaped from a county jail, and some still remain at large. Of the convicts that have escaped, one is a convicted murderer and is still on the loose. 2 of the 4 inmates have been found and sent over to the crowded state prison. Florida's governor sets up a task force to study his state's Stand Your Ground law, which allows people to use deadly force anywhere they feel a responsible threat of death or serious injury. Governor Rick Scott says that Lieutenant Governor Jennifer Carroll will lead the task force, and the rest of its members will be announced Thursday morning. Sweet tea with a side of phlegm? The incident happened on Saturday in a South Carolina McDonald's when a mother and daughter returned their drinks twice, claiming there was no sweetener inside. When they found the horrid sight of phlegm inside their cups, they went straight to the police. 19-year-old Marvin D. Washington, Jr. was charged with unlawful and malicious tampering with food. North Carolina police questioned registered sex offender Nicholas Holbert in their search for a missing soldier. Private First Class Kelly Bordeaux, a 23-year-old combat medic, has been missing since early Saturday. Holbert denies any involvement. A centuries-old painting seized decades ago by Nazis in World War II has been returned to the heirs of its original Jewish owner. This painting is one of 70 items taken from the collection of Federico Gentili di Giuseppe, an Italian Jew who died in 1940. Gentili's grandchildren have been trying to get the painting back since 1997. Coming up, find out about Zac Efron's new movie and more about the Buffett rule. Stay with us.
You do know that energy savers last 6 times longer than ordinary light bulbs.
This isn't my room. It's Baron Davis's.
Baron Davis, the basketball player? This is his room?
Yep.
Interesting. because we have Baron Davis right here. Baron, do you live here?
No.
I don't mean that, Baron Davis.
Millions of kids are using their energy wisely. What's your excuse?
A police officer stabbed in the head survives. NYPD officer Ederlor was stabbed in the face, neck, and had bleeding on the brain when he arrived at the hospital. Dr. Joshua Betterson at Mount Sinai Hospital in Manhattan expects Lord to make a full recovery. The suspect in the stabbing case is Terrence Hale, who produced a knife as officers were escorting him out of his apartment building. And now over to Jacqueline Solinsky, who's going to give us an update on entertainment.
Thank you, Erin. Oprah Winfrey is known for her positive influence nationwide, but in her new series, Oprah's Next Chapter, she isn't just reaching an audience through the television. The newest episode, which airs this weekend, will show Oprah visiting a family who has lived in a one-room home for 33 years in the slums of India. Her reaction is of shock and bewilderment. Whitney Houston's controversial death is still making headlines weeks later, only now in a more positive light. The cast of the hit show Glee will hold an hour-long tribute to Miss Houston in next week's episode. It will feature her hit songs performed by the talented young cast making life decisions about their future. Zac Efron bulked up for his new role as a U.S. Marine in Nicholas Sparks' The Lucky One. Efron plays a soldier who finds a picture of a woman whom he had never met but claims that she is the reason he made it back alive. What will happen when he finally meets this woman? The Lucky One hits theaters tomorrow. Back to you, Erin.
Thank you, Jacqueline. Now let's bring in Michelle Jaworski, who has more on the Buffett rule. So Michelle, can you tell us a bit more about what happened today?
I can actually. Earlier today, the Republican majority of the House of Representatives, voted to pass a $46 billion tax cut for almost every business in the country with fewer than 500 employees.
Okay. So you mentioned that a Republican majority passed this tax cut. Did the Democrats have any legislation to counter it?
Yeah, at the same time, they proposed the Buffett rule, which was named after billionaire Warren Buffett, which would add a $47 billion tax increase on the nation's richest households. But the House voted against it, 234 to 179.
So what does Warren Buffett have to do with it?
Well, originally, the whole Buffett rule was proposed by Obama in 2011, but it was named after Buffett because of an op-ed piece he did back in 2011 that expressed support on higher taxes for the rich. And he used the example of how his secretary paid more in taxes than he did.
Okay. What will happen next?
People are saying that the House bill isn't likely to pass, but instead Senate Democratic leaders are unveiling their own much more limited tax incentive for hiring, which would come to a vote next month. And basically that'll give a 10% tax credit for new hiring this year and extend an extended break, which will allow businesses to deduct immediately the cost of new plants and equipment.
All right, thank you, Michelle. Thanks. Now we'll go to Allison Lips, who has more on India building missiles in World News Minute.
India tests a new capable missile. According to the director of the missile test site, the Agni 5 met all the mission's objectives. It has the ability to travel more than 5,000 kilometers, which puts two major Chinese cities, Beijing and Shanghai, within the Agni 5's range. China's government refuses to comment. However, an editorial in the newspaper Global Times warned India not to get arrogant and overestimate its strength. Ford plans to expand its presence in China. The company announces that it will build a $760 million assembly plant in Hangzhou, as well as a new plant in Ford's main production base in Chongqing. The new plants are part of a plan to double Ford's current annual building capacity in China to 1.2 million vehicles and bring the company's total investment in that country to $4.9 billion. That's all for this week's World News Minute. Back to you at the desk.
Thank you, Allison. The FBI tries to catch the silent bandit. They are enlisting the help of the public to capture the suspect who has robbed 5 banks in the past 2 weeks. The robberies occurred in Pennsylvania and New Jersey. The suspect is an olive-skinned male, early 50s. He is 5'6", short, dark hair, and mustache. Anyone with information should contact the FBI in Philadelphia, Newark, or your local authorities. Good Shepherd Pen Partners is the first facility in the Philadelphia region to get a robot that helps paralysis patients to walk. The Exobionic Exoskeleton is a lightweight, ready-to-wear battery-powered robot that straps over a patient's clothing and is controlled by a physical therapist. Now over to Ashley Chiradio with sports.
The Pittsburgh Penguins avoided being swept by the Philadelphia Flyers last night by winning Game 4 10-3. The teams broke a record with a combined 7 goals in the first period. Game 5 will take place Friday in Pittsburgh. Pat Summitt is stepping aside as Tennessee women's basketball coach and instead will report to the athletic director Dave Hart. Longtime assistant Holly Warlick will be promoted to replace Summitt, who was diagnosed with early onset dementia less than a year ago. The NFL 2012 schedule has been released, and the season will open with the Giants hosting the Cowboys on Wednesday, September 5th. This past year's Super Bowl champions, the Giants, have the toughest schedule on paper for the second year in a row. Back to you, Erin.
Thank you, Ashley. Now here's Daryl Saul with more on the rainy weekend ahead.
And let's take a look at what's going on today in your weather. It was a real nice day today, a high of 68 and a low of 49. Sunny skies, very nice, almost no breezes in Glassboro. This week's 5-week forecast, it's going to change up a little bit. Friday, we're still going to have sunny skies with a high of 73 and a low of 56, but on Saturday, Sunday, and Monday, we have possible rainstorms. Now on Saturday, it might turn into thunderstorms and we'll have a high of 75 and a low of 48. Sunday, it's going to cool down, be 51 with a low of 44, and Monday, we're still going to have a chance of showers, and it's going to be a 46 and a low of 38. Now, this means a possible relief for those allergy sufferers out there, so it might be a good weekend for you. And on Tuesday, we're going to see everything starting to warm up, sunny skies, and it's going to be a little cloudy, maybe a lot of cloudy, but it's still a lot better than rain. It's going to be a high of 54 and a low of 42. Now, let's take a look at that weather window. Today was a beautiful day. We had sunny skies all throughout Glassboro and a nice breeze coming in. We have Bunce Hall, and in front of the Student Center, you can see a lot of people out and about, riding skateboards, talking, and tent states going on. But other than that, I am actually looking forward to all this rain coming this weekend because my car is dusted with pollen. So, and allergy sufferers, you might get a break for this weekend. It might rain, but I don't think it's a big problem this weekend. What about you?
I don't know. I'm looking forward to it. I mean, this fluctuation in weather has really gotten to my sinuses and is making me sick a lot.
Definitely.
But, you know, I think with a little weather, a little cool down, maybe they'll clear up. So
yep.
It's looking good. All right. Thanks, Daryl.
Thanks.
Well, that's all for this week's National Rundown and for this semester. Thanks for watching and have a great weekend.